Prelude to War, 1930s. Economic and political instability. Great Depression. The global economic downturn of the 1930s, known as the Great Depression, created widespread unemployment and poverty, undermining democratic governments and fostering extremist political movements. In Germany, hyperinflation and economic hardship following World War I contributed to the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles, 1919, which ended World War I, imposed severe reparations and territorial losses on Germany. These punitive measures created deep resentment and a desire for revenge among Germans, setting the stage for World War II. Rise of totalitarian regimes. Germany. Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany in 1933 and quickly established a totalitarian regime. He promoted an aggressive nationalist ideology, aiming to overturn the Treaty of Versailles, restore German pride, and expand German territory. Italy. Benito Mussolini's fascist regime, established in 1922, sought to create a new Roman Empire. Italy invaded Ethiopia in 1935, defying the League of Nations and demonstrating the weakness of international peacekeeping efforts. Japan. Militarists in Japan, seeking to solve economic problems through expansion, invaded Manchuria in 1931 and established the puppet state of Manchukuo. This aggressive expansion continued throughout the 1930s, culminating in the invasion of China in 1937. Policy of appeasement. Appeasement. Britain and France, war-weary and economically weakened from World War I, initially pursued a policy of appeasement, allowing Germany to annex territories such as the Rhineland, 1936, Austria, Anschluss, 1938, and the Sudetenland, Munich Agreement, 1938, without military intervention. This policy was intended to prevent another war but ultimately emboldened Hitler. Outbreak of war, 1939. Invasion of Poland. German invasion. World War II officially began on September 1, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland using blitzkrieg tactics, rapid, coordinated attacks combining infantry, tanks, and air power. The Polish military was quickly overwhelmed. Allied response. Britain and France declared war on Germany on September 3, 1939, honoring their commitment to defend Polish sovereignty. However, they were unable to provide significant immediate military support to Poland. Soviet-German Pact. Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. On August 23, 1939, Germany and the Soviet Union signed a non-aggression pact, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, which included a secret protocol dividing Eastern Europe into spheres of influence. The Soviet Union invaded eastern Poland on September 17, 1939, as part of this agreement. Early Axis victories, 1939 to 1941. Fall of Poland and the Phony War. Polish defeat. By the end of September 1939, Poland had been partitioned between Germany and the Soviet Union. The rapid fall of Poland demonstrated the effectiveness of blitzkrieg tactics. Phony War. Following the fall of Poland, a period of relative inactivity on the Western Front ensued, known as the Phony War or Sitzkrieg. During this time, both sides prepared for future hostilities. Scandinavian Campaign. Invasion of Denmark and Norway. In April 1940, Germany invaded Denmark and Norway to secure vital shipping routes and resources. Denmark surrendered immediately, while Norway, with British and French support, resisted until June 1940. Fall of France. Invasion of France. In May 1940, Germany launched an offensive against France and the Low Countries, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. German forces bypassed the heavily fortified Maginot Line by advancing through the Ardennes forest. Dunkirk evacuation. British and French forces were encircled at Dunkirk. In a remarkable evacuation effort, Operation Dynamo, over 330,000 Allied soldiers were evacuated to Britain between May 26 and June 4, 1940. French surrender. France formally surrendered to Germany on June 22, 1940. The country was divided into the German-occupied north and the Vichy regime in the south, which collaborated with the Axis powers. Battle of Britain. Operation Sea Lion. Following the fall of France, Hitler planned an invasion of Britain, Operation Sea Lion. To achieve this, the German Luftwaffe needed to gain air superiority over the British Royal Air Force, RAF. Aerial combat. The Battle of Britain, July-October 1940, involved intense aerial combat. Despite heavy bombing raids, the RAF successfully defended Britain, marking the first major defeat for Germany. Expansion of the war in the Mediterranean and Balkans. Italian campaigns. Italy, an Axis power, invaded Greece from Albania in October 1940, but faced strong Greek resistance. Germany intervened in April 1941, conquering Greece and Yugoslavia. North Africa. In North Africa, Italian forces attacked British-held Egypt in September 1940. British counterattacks in 1940 to 1941 pushed Italian forces back. Germany sent the Afrika Korps, led by General Erwin Rommel, to support Italy in early 1941. Turning points, 1941 to 1943. Operation Barbarossa. Invasion of the Soviet Union. On June 22, 1941, Germany launched Operation Barbarossa, a massive invasion of the Soviet Union. Initially, German forces achieved significant territorial gains, encircling and destroying large Soviet armies. Stalingrad. The Battle of Stalingrad, August 1942 to February 1943, marked a significant turning point. The Soviet Union encircled and defeated the German Sixth Army. This defeat was a major blow to German military capabilities and morale. Entry of the United States. Pearl Harbor. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, destroying much of the Pacific Fleet. The U.S. declared war on Japan on December 8, 1941. Germany and Italy declare war. On December 11, 1941, Germany and Italy declared war on the United States, bringing the U.S. into the European theater of war. Pacific Theater. Japanese expansion. Japan rapidly expanded its empire in the Pacific, capturing territories including the Philippines, Malaya, Singapore, and the Dutch East Indies. Battle of Midway. In June 1942, the U.S. Navy achieved a decisive victory over Japan at the Battle of Midway, sinking 4 Japanese aircraft carriers and turning the tide in the Pacific Theater. Allied counteroffensives, 1943 to 1944. North Africa and Italy. North African Campaign. Allied forces, including British and American troops, launched successful campaigns in North Africa, culminating in the defeat of Axis forces in Tunisia in May 1943. Invasion of Italy. The Allies invaded Sicily in July 1943 and mainland Italy in September 1943. Mussolini's regime collapsed, and Italy surrendered. However, German forces continued to resist, leading to a prolonged and bloody campaign in Italy. Eastern Front. Soviet offensives. Following the victory at Stalingrad, the Soviet Union launched a series of offensives, steadily pushing German forces westward. The Battle of Kursk, July-August 1943, was another significant Soviet victory, marking the last major German offensive on the Eastern Front. Western Front. D-Day. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces launched Operation Overlord, the largest amphibious invasion in history, landing on the beaches of Normandy, France. This operation, known as D-Day, marked the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi occupation. Liberation of Paris. Allied forces liberated Paris on August 25, 1944, as part of their advance through France and into Germany. End of the war, 1945. Collapse of Nazi Germany. Western and Eastern fronts. Allied forces advanced from the west, while Soviet forces advanced from the east, converging on Germany. Major cities such as Berlin faced intense battles and bombing raids. Fall of Berlin. Soviet forces launched the Battle of Berlin in April 1945. Adolf Hitler committed suicide on April 30, 1945, and Berlin fell to the Soviets on May 2, 1945. German surrender. Germany surrendered unconditionally on May 8, 1945, V-Day, ending the war in Europe. Defeat of Japan. Island hopping campaign. The U.S. adopted an island hopping strategy, capturing key islands in the Pacific and moving closer to Japan. Major battles included Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. Atomic bombs. On August 6, 1945, the U.S. dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima, followed by a second bomb on Nagasaki on August 9, 1945. The devastating effects of the bombs led to Japan's surrender. Japanese surrender. Japan announced its surrender on August 15, 1945, VJ Day, and formally signed the surrender documents on September 2, 1945, aboard the USS Missouri, ending World War II.